Well, I would say long-awaited Lindsey Williams DVD, but it came pretty quick. So I got the DVD, just got done watching it. Um, this is his latest as of now, July 1st, 2015. Is it going to be his last? I mean, we only got 2 months till September. Beats me. I will say this right off the bat. If I were Lindsey Williams all these years, knowing that the date's coming sooner and sooner and sooner, I too would be releasing DVDs to get as much money as I possibly could so that I could buy some preparations and things, that I might find necessary. Absolutely. Um, so the extreme short version is that there's not really anything new. Okay? Not really. But here it is as I took notes on everything that I needed to take notes on. Believe me, I got it right here. Most important DVD he's ever done. Most exciting time of your life. Not necessarily good, bad, whatever. Just generally speaking, when this crap goes down, it will be the most exciting, eventful time. I think would have been a better word. Period. September through December of 2015. Must get your stuff in order before September. They told him and his family to do these things, which things he's discussed, and I'm going to repeat here again. And he kind of broke this down into like 4 sections. So, the first part, first of all, know exactly what you're preparing for. In fact, let's do this since you can't see my notebook. I'm not blocking myself. Know exactly what you're preparing for. Some people are preparing for the return of Jesus. The wife, well, let me back up too. I didn't write this down, but when he was talking about that particular section, he said some people are preparing for the return of Jesus. He talked about, which actually I did write down. So let me just go. I skipped a couple lines, but whatever. Wife of an elite friend of his, whatever. He says a wife of elite sent him an email, and she talked about what's going to happen in California. Houses in California, prices are going down and will continue to go down, and even more so, due to these water restrictions. Because you're not going to move into an area that has heavy-duty water restrictions, whether the government's imposing those restrictions or the water's just not there. One way or the other, you're not going to move into that area. So look for a huge outpour of people leaving their houses behind and everything, getting out of there. Can't sell it, won't sell it, whatever. They're just going to have to leave because they're not going to be able to deal with the water issues and the fact that their house value is being destroyed, realizing it's getting worse and worse. I'm a moron to keep sitting here making payments on this turd. I'll never be able to sell it. There's water restrictions. It's over. I might as well go move to another state and try to find a job there. So this lady tells him, wife of an elite friend of his, says you're going to see bankrupt banks, neighborhoods completely empty, ghost towns, etc. Large exodus from California ultimately is going to be the result. Water problems. I'm going to cut in here for a second, not Lindsey Williams speaking here, and just say that I've been following one interesting development in California. Some of these bodies of water are losing. For example, Lake Mead, which is near the Grand Canyon, and the Hoover Dam, of course, has dropped. Sometimes in like a day or two, the amount of water it dropped was unprecedented, like feet per day when it was normally like an inch or something, or a few inches. And the theory is that, sometimes you'll see that when a big earthquake's about to hit, because the water, the Earth's actually already opening up, the water's going down. That was why that's happening. I thought personally, when I heard about that, I was like, that size of water, that amount of water going down like that, makes me wonder what would happen if you had a pile of molten lava and I poured a big bucket of water in this little bucket of molten lava, you would have a massive reaction of steam explosion in your face. So I started thinking, if that's what happens and that hits underground, causing a massive earthquake, that could be a possibility. I was going to throw that out there. But the other thing is that they're testing for gases like hydrogen and something else, and they're saying they have very high levels, way abnormal levels coming out of the ground, and their sensors are picking it up. Another sign that potentially an earthquake's coming. So as far as the ghost towns in California due to water restrictions, I got news for you. If this happens, not that he said this, but earthquake happens, that'll be the least of people's worries about water restrictions. So he mentions about some people preparing for Jesus, and know what you're preparing for. First of all, have something to prepare for, and know that you're preparing for the right thing. They are throwing all of these false flags, all this crap you're hearing lately. We all know the government's behind. They're doing this to get you prepared for the wrong things. And he says, here's some far out examples. Alien invasions, Planet X, etc. It's a psyop. You're going to prepare for that and not be prepared for what they got planned for you, which is the New World Order coming to a world near you soon. Meanwhile, you're preparing for something else like that, and the financial side of this New World Order kicking in because the markets have to crash, etc. World economy has to crash in order for them to really kick this off properly. So what he's saying is, know what you're preparing for. Don't just say, I got to prepare. Know what you're going to prepare for, and don't sit there and prepare for the things that are not likely to happen, like the crap they're putting in front of your face to scare you, and you're like, an alien invasion, Planet X coming by. And I've seen videos lately. Now there's Planet 7X and Planet X, and I just watched one the other couple days ago, and it said back in April, May, this thing should be in our orbit. We should see it for sure. The science proves it. 68,000 views, massive thumbs up on YouTube. Well, this must be that real deal. Oh, wait a minute, April, May, we're in June. We're about to be in July. Huh? No Planet X, no Planet 7X, whatever it is, right? Anyways, so he says there's 3 dates: September 13th, the 25th, and the 28th. So on the 13th is the Feast of Trumpets, which we know, biblically speaking or whatever, but again, the elite like to choose certain dates for their occult purposes too. We also have that 28th as being the final blood moon of the 4, which are extremely rare. And then the Pope comes on the 23rd, same month, September, to the U.S., and then the 25th, he's going to speak somewhere else, maybe in the U.S., but he's having some kind of specific speech. And it's going to be basically about the post-2015 Sustainable Development Program, also known as Agenda 21 on steroids. And hold on. Can't have my kid back there singing loud when I got Lindsey Williams stuff to deal with. Can't have you unfocused, if you know what I mean. So Pope comes 23rd to U.S. 25th, he's going to give the speech. It's going to be about the post-2015 Sustainable Development Program, again, also known as Agenda 21 on steroids. And this is the beginning of the New World Order. Pope will bring this out. You're going to hear from him first about this. This is the beginning of the New World Order agenda. So, he said... Okay, so this is part of the second section to kind of continue on to what I just said about the Pope in a couple sentences down. If elite get their way, and he said, look, I've got to tell you, they're only human, and they don't always get what they want, just usually they do. And this is a big one, of course. So he says if they get their way, and right now signs point to yes, this is what we can expect. September through December of 2015, subsection A, as I wrote myself, worldwide, not local, not USA, worldwide financial collapse. Derivatives, as we know, he's mentioned many times, will be responsible for this. Interest rates will rise by the elite doing it themselves, as they mentioned, and I mentioned also in 2013, I think, when he came out and said, oh, yeah, my elite friend just told me Friday they're going to change the interbank lending rate. That's a rate they can change. And to do just a little tiny test to see if that's the method they're really going to use. And sure enough, Friday comes, news is out there. Not a lot, but mainstream was covering it. About this interbank lending rate, billions of dollars have just been lost. China just took a hit, blah, blah, blah. If this rate isn't fixed by Monday, it's going to be bad news for the markets worldwide. He said, relax, it'll be fixed by Monday. Don't worry about it. We just did that as a test run. Sure enough, I went back and found the article, found some news stories. Sure enough, just like he said. Again, most derivatives products are tied to interest rates one way or the other. Too large of a move in an interest rate equals someone being completely wiped out of their derivatives position, and since they are leveraged so massively, it becomes catastrophic. So that's the tool they're going to use when they do this. America has more debt than the world combined. He shows a little chart and stuff, and he says, it took 216 years. He shows this chart up until 2000. I think it went to 2006, something like that. And he says it took that long, 216 years, to get $8.5 billion in debt. Trillion. For the U.S. It only took the last several years to double that. Another $8.5 billion on top of it. So think about that for a second. I've actually covered this numerous times. I haven't done it in a while. But I said, you know how long it's taken us to get even our first $1 trillion in debt? I think it took us to like 1980 or so. Somewhere around there. And look where we're at now. So this is not sustainable. And it's going to be dealt with shortly. Trust me. It's not going to be pretty. So that's proof right there, America. We're the most in, we look at Greece. Oh, it's Greece, just Greece. We're more in debt than Greece. We're more bankrupt than Greece. We just haven't officially said it. I mean, that's the honest to goodness truth. We have more debt in our own country than the entire world combined. Think about that. Let that sit in for 1 second. It has to be dealt with, and it's going to be. Subsection B. New World Order implemented during the same time frame, September to December 2015. His real date that he spoke about most was, get this stuff in order by, before September 15th was initially what he was talking about. But then at one point he said, my elite friend, told me, by September, basically get your stuff in order. Not necessarily the 15th, just, at one point he said by September, basically first. But, I mean, one way or the other, September to December is all I'm really concerned about. So that's the time frame. They want to implement this New World Order. Certain dates where certain people will announce to the United Nations and then to the U.S. Congress, politicians in the world listening, that this transition is going to be taking effect. And of course, it's going to be due to the worldwide collapse that happens, and we've got the solution, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The Pope's going to come play his hand. Pope shows up. I'm the Pope, you got to listen to me. He'll be a part of it. They absolutely, the elite, do not want rioting, revolution. They don't want it. However, are absolutely prepared to deal with it should it happen. His elite friend doesn't think it will happen without riots, personally speaking. He told Lindsey, even though we don't want it and our goal is not to have riots, we want this to be somewhat of a smooth transition into the New World Order system. We don't want the riots. We don't want a revolution. We don't want, anything like that. his own elite friend told him, I personally think we're going to see those things anyway. I don't think it's going to go it's like smoothly for us, essentially. Jade Helm, the whole reason it happened during the time frame it's happening and ends when? In September 2015, allegedly, right? Operation Jade Helm will be used to deal with the riots should any riots and or revolutionary type thing happen. That's who they will be. That's the force that they will use to deal with that stuff. That's why it's been going on. And he didn't say nothing about no Walmart closing. Nope. Did not mention Walmart. Sorry about your luck. Jade Helm, he says, will be used in the event of mass civil unrest that turns into violence, rioting, potentially revolution, because they don't want that. They got to go forward with their plans. We can't have that stop now. We're too close, right? Papa Bush Sr. is on his deathbed. The guy's in his 90s now. He wants to see this happen shortly. Trust me. So, subsection C. Elite do not know what divine event is going to happen, same time frame, September to December, but think and are expecting some kind of divine intervention. He plays, at this point, Lindsey plays a video of Jonathan Cahn, C-A-H-N, who's the guy that wrote the several books on the Shemitah cycle. And I actually just watched the video a few days ago, unbeknownst to me. And then he played it again inside his DVD. And it's basically about him giving a speech at the church in Washington, D.C., about the founding of America, how it was founded on God and the beliefs. Talks about the Supreme Court with the gay marriage ruling. It's just another, nail in the coffin of our Constitution, etc. And you can't change the law. Man can't change the laws of God and that sort of stuff. And so, anyways, that was what he played there. And then in section 3, he plays a Ron Paul video that Ron Paul did not too long ago. And Ron Paul, former congressman of 22 years, warns of a worse financial crisis than 2008, and it will be here very soon, according to Ron Paul. And he goes on to mention how many top secret meetings he's been involved in while a Congress member, blah, 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 and, and I'm warning you, it's coming soon, etc. This is Ron Paul. He talks about a major stock market crash and currency crash. It won't just be one or the other. It's not going to be housing, and it's going to be a market crash and an economic crash. It's going to be everything. Currency crash, market crash. It's going to be the definition of an economic collapse. That's it for section 3. Section 4, and this is the final section. Lindsey was told by his elite friend to have an alternate location to go to in case the elite's plans don't go as planned, and that the riots in fact do happen. People don't want this new world order and a big, whether it's a revolution or just rioting everywhere, whatever it is, have a place to go to so you don't have to deal with that. And preferably, they tell him, outside of the United States of America. And Lindsey said, well, I'm not going to stay there. He's like, the way he took it was, when things settled back down, he would come back. For sure. But those 2, 3, 4 months, whatever it ends up being, that length of time where it's not good, if rioting and that kind of things happen all over the damn place, you're not going to want to be, around. And the best place would be, well, since it's going to affect the whole damn country, leave the country. Go find an alternate location. My issue with that, now again, this is his elite friend telling him this. I got a problem with that for the following reason. If we're rioting here in America because of a massive worldwide economic collapse, do you know how many countries, even right now, are still using our dollar and rely on our dollar every day. If you think you're going to go to another country for a safe location, I think old J Snip 4's got some news for you. It may not be any better there either. Then again, it might be. I wouldn't chance it, personally, to tell you the truth. I'm going to be here. I'll tell you right now, I will be here. I don't have any plans of going anywhere. Plain and simple. I just don't. And I have this overwhelming feeling that just says stay. Don't worry about it. You know, why? I couldn't tell you. So he told him, do this before it's too late. By the time this is tried to be implemented, September timeframe, it'll be too late. You won't be able to do it by then. Next piece, again, you've heard this many times before from him. Get out of any and all paper assets you possibly can. And he even mentioned, you know, get out of, if you got a bunch of dollars in the bank, you may want to get out of that too. And keep it for yourself. Have a supply of cash on hand, because you will potentially need it should these worst case scenarios happen with the rioting and everything else and the banking collapse. You may need it to, you know, ATMs are down, my bank's down, whatever it is, or they're limiting cash just like they are right now in Greece as we speak. Well, that can't happen here. Dude, that's Greece. In third world country? No. First world country, member of the EU, European Union? Yes. And all I can do is shake my head when I see the photos and the videos of these people, massive lines, running into the grocery store with whatever the cash they can to buy stuff now while they can. How many times have I told you? People are reactionary. We never, ever, ever learn. We never, ever, ever do things in advance. Oh, you're a prepper. You moron, you. I don't want to be labeled a prepper. Ask any one of those Greek folks, do you wish you prepped a little in advance of this event? Even 2 weeks ago, we wish you were here doing this now? 100% result, yes, I do. You know it. Look at them. So, have cash on hand, more than you normally would keep on hand, basically. And he relays a story from a precious metals dealer that he knows. He said specifically a gold dealer that he knows. And he said, Lindsey, I can't afford to take out a bunch of money out of our business account to, you know, try to keep safe. He's like, for me to do business weekly, monthly, whatever, I constantly need about $1 million in my bank account. That's just what it takes. If I don't have it there, I can't do business. You know, just won't. And Lindsey said, you know, it's one of those things. You got to do what you got to do, and if it requires that you keep the money in, you got to keep the money in. You got to keep going. But I think for the average person, right? I mean, you and me, whatever, it's a little different. So he recommends a book by Stan Dio called Dare to Prepare. And he said basically, you know, I've studied a lot of books, read a lot of books about things, you know, how to prepare for certain things. And he says, this is the one book I can attest to that has like everything covered. Everything's in this book. So I highly recommend it. That's all he said. He put up the name of the book and I think even a number you could call to buy it, but I just wrote the title down. Dare to Prepare by Dan. Was it Steo or Deo? D-E-Y-O, I think was the name. Have food and water. Excess food and water at your house. Now, I've been having it in a while because I've stocked up a bit of food storage, freeze-dried, you know, dehydrated foods, that kind of stuff. Again, emergency situation kind of thing. But I've never had a real solid source for water. I bought one of those big Berkeys. You know, you could purify, you know, water in a gutter, you know, dirty water. Works great. But again, you got to have the water there first. So, yeah, you got pools and things next door. But there is a device called an atmospheric water generator, I believe. It's basically like an air conditioner. You turn your air conditioner on, what happens? It drips water out a little pipe, a little tube. Well, this thing essentially is similar to that. in that it collects the water it creates, and I don't think it's making AC. You don't get cold air out of it. It's strictly making water, and it can make, this particular one I was looking at can make 8 gallons of purified water per day. Comes with like 3 or 4 filters inside the thing, extra set of filters, and some kind of like nutrient filter that, because the water's coming out so pure, it adds some nutrients back to the water for you to keep you, nice and healthy, I guess. This particular company is called Ecola Blue, or maybe it was the Eco Blue something or another. I went on eBay real quick and looked. They had that particular model. I want to say it was like $1,200, and the company was out of Texas that was selling it, and it came with a free set of extra filters or something like that. And I thought, that's, for a long time, I've always thought, man, that's the last thing that I really, really want to get. I've got solar panels. They're actually sitting in the garage. I've got my charge controller. I've got a couple of inverters. I've actually got 2 charge controllers. I've got 2 or 3 inverters. A real nice one that I could feed back to the grid, but I don't even have it hooked up. And I felt like ever since I got back from Tennessee, I don't think I want to hook it up. I want to leave it down. I want to leave it in the garage. I want to, in my stuff, in the electronics inside my house. So should any bad day come, electricity goes out, whatever it may be, I can very easily lean the solar panels up against the side of my house with the wiring. I already have the wiring, and then just wire an inverter in real fast and have power. My thought was, since I've got my own power generation, I could power this little thing easily, and it would produce water. If it can make 8 gallons a day, let me tell you something, my whole entire family would be hard pressed to drink 2 full gallons of water between all of us. I'm just going to say that, in a day. We don't do that much water. 3 little girls, my wife and I. My wife's 99 pounds. Okay? One of those things I would say, if you got the couple bucks, wouldn't hurt to have one of those. He mentions how to stay warm in the freezing cold. Like if you didn't have electricity and you're somewhere up north where it is cold. There's this warm suit by a company named Aeris, A-E-R-I-S. Aeris warm suit. And he mentions one of the websites you can get it from, preppercenters.com. P-R-P-P-E-R centers.com. I didn't go and look. I don't know what it cost, but it reminded me of like a wetsuit that you'd get when you're scuba diving. I'm a certified scuba diver, believe it or not. Haven't gone in many years, but it reminds me of basically like a wetsuit. So this video he shows of them demoing it is a guy jumping into ice cold freezing water, and it's like minus 13 degrees outside or something. And the guy steps out and very quickly is warmed back up just by the suit. He was wearing the suit the whole time, but he got completely waterlogged inside. And then he jumped back in again, then jumped back in like a 3rd time. And each time he got out, he would warm back up. His teeth weren't even chattering. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. But I mean, I'm in Florida. I don't think the worst, coldest days ever would require me to go get one of these suits. I'm going to say no on that one. But many of you may not. And if you're above Florida, you've had some cold winters, I'm sure. Last thing he mentions, anything you have that you owe payments on, you're in debt on, you're going to lose it. When this goes down, so many people are going to lose those items. You're not going to be able to pay for it. So he says, if you can get out of debt, by God, get out of debt. Then you don't have to worry about that. You own a car, you own it. If you happen to own the house, you already own it. No debt. Can't do anything about it. Now, me personally, this may sound wrong. This may come across wrong. But I was thinking it as I was watching the end of his video. And I'm going to say it. I can't wait for the whole mass of I've always been doing the right thing people to experience this event. Oh my God, what just happened? We've been living paycheck, even though we're middle class or whatever class you are, we still live paycheck to paycheck essentially. We had a little bit of savings. How's that working out for you now? You just lost your boat, your car, whatever it was, maybe your house. How did doing the right thing work out for you? And I gave an example a long time ago. You're on the Titanic. You feel the iceberg impact. You can tell the ship's sinking. Unsinkable ship is sinking. That should raise red flags alone. If the ship's not supposed to be sinkable and it is already sinking, we got problems. But you're in line to get some hot dogs for your family. You got 5 people in your family. So as he's handing you all these hot dogs, you're handing them to your kids and your wife. The ship's going down so rapidly, it's an abandoned ship. They're sounding the alarms. Get in the lifeboats now. Are you going to sit there and say, you know what, how much was that again? $8, back in those days, for feed a family, I was going to say $8. That's probably too much. That's $3.25 for 5 hot dogs, back in those days. Oh, hold on. I've got a 20. Can you break a 20? Yeah, go ahead. Go in there. I'll wait a minute. We're going to die, but I'll go ahead and wait. I'm going to do the right thing, get you paid so that you can die with the money I owed you, and then I die trying to make it to the lifeboat. There comes a time when you can't do the right thing. And you may recognize in advance, I may have to stop doing the right thing just to prepare for my own livelihood to survive something that's going to be coming here shortly. And the last time I checked, you have every right, God-given right, to do whatever you have to do to survive. If that means Jamie Dimon, new billionaire club member, owner, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, doesn't get his credit card payment or your mortgage payment, I got to tell you, I wouldn't be real upset about that. Really wouldn't. And my wife was just telling me that somebody we know has decided not to pay their mortgage anymore. Just not going to do it anymore. They can see stuff coming, and their motto was something I've talked about in the past too. Not even the motto, the thought process was, I need to save up some money in a hurry. What's the best way to do that? I know that's going down. The system's crashing. I know this in advance. How can I take advantage so that I can help my family and myself out during this crisis when it gets here? Well, that requires me now to stop making my mortgage payment, pocket the money. It'll be years before this thing ever forecloses. Yeah, your credit's ruined. Who cares? The bank's ruined all of our assets and lives anyways. So pay back to you, bank. Sorry about your luck. And then all the doing the right thing people on Facebook will tell you how wrong you were for that. And then this day comes, and then you go back on Facebook. Hey guys, doing the right things. Whoa, where's all the posts? You guys haven't been posting. Where'd you go? You fell off the face of the earth. You just went away. Oh, I just heard from our friend. You shut your internet off because you couldn't afford the bill. Struggling. Oh, got it. Understood. In a nice, perfect world, we should all be paying our debts. We should all be doing the right thing. But when the top-down system hasn't been doing the right thing for a long time and has actually been doing things that hurt you and are about to push something on you that's going to hurt really bad in the near future, then by God, you have a right to do something about it now. And whatever that choice is that you do now is up to you. If you decide to stop paying credit cards or mortgage, that's you, because you do have to understand one thing. There is still the possibility that September, October, November, December comes and goes, and the elite's plans don't go as they wanted. I don't know what's going to happen, but what we thought happened may never even happen. However, it has to happen sometime. Remember that story excuse me, $8.5 trillion in debt, 2006, from 18, whatever it was, 216 years. 2006, present. Matter of fact, maybe in 2009. Present, another 8.5 billion on top, trillion on top of it. Over 18 trillion now. Is that going away if September, October, and November come and this whatever doesn't happen? Does that go away? Does that debt just get written off? Does Greece all of a sudden have enormous amounts of money that, like we did a time warp or something and they changed the timeline and Greece is flourishing and no one's got pension problems and Social Security issues? No, everything's good. The amount of unfunded liabilities in the United States, I'm not even talking about the debt, 18 trillion. That's nonsense compared to the unfunded liabilities that they don't even count. They don't need to count it. They already know what it is. And they say if we count that, we're bankrupt, 70, 80 years ago we're already bankrupt. We just haven't even admitted it. We'll just leave these numbers off the books, and one day when the world stops using our dollar, we'll deal with it then, but that'll be way after my time. That time is now. This debt has to be dealt with. I still strongly believe this stuff's going to happen later this year, simply because all the occult signs, you got the head of the IMF saying about the cycles of 7 and take this away from that, 7, cycles of 7, the 7 is important. Never in the history of the IMF has any member, worker, employee of the IMF ever come out with any nonsense like that. And as she's coming out to give the speech, someone says something to her in the first little row. And she, before she gets to the mic, she kind of goes like that and says something. And I can hear her say, you can hear it, I just do what I'm told. Yeah, they just tell me what to do. I do what I'm told, or something like that. I just do what I'm told. Yeah. Exactly. You're a spokesperson, just like Obama, just like everybody else. And her job as spokesperson that day was to tell the elite, don't forget, 7-year cycle, it's this one. This one is going down. And when is this one? By chance, September timeframe, September, October 2015. She said that at the end of last year. Hasn't come out with a more ridiculous speech since or before. That's why I think they've all agreed it's going down. We've dealt with this long enough. We have to crush everything, start over. And when everyone feels the pain, that's when we hit them with the New World Order. It's the only solution that's going to work. We got the freaking Pope. Here for the... Let's hear it for the Pope. Let's hear it for the Pope. Boom. Pope comes out. We got to do this. People are suffering. We're going to make sure everybody in the world is fed. Everyone will have food. No more struggles. We got to do that. Why do you think they just passed Fast Track, TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership, trade bill with all these nations? Why did they urgently have to get that done? So that when this goes down later this year, those things are already in place, which is part of this transition. That's why, the Republicans, they passed that damn thing 60-38. My own Marco Rubio, Florida, the 60th vote. Go, buddy. You're going to make it big time in politics. You're going to follow the big guys. You just showed them you can play, too, with the big boys. The deciding vote, they said. Marco Rubio. So I thought Republicans didn't do what the Democrats do, and the Democrats don't. So how in the hell did this Republican-led Senate pass that bill into law, which Obama very rapidly signed? Just saying. Take care.